Lion and Pirate open mic plugged as opposed to unplugged.
Yes.
Which is how we've operated in the past. So you might notice we have a microphone, which is not something that we can usually offer, but if you feel a little soft-spoken, like you need a little amplification, it's here. If you know that your voice carries, don't use it.
That microphone's going to come in handy for me.
As the bookstore employee, I would say if you have a loud voice, we do sometimes have a feedback problem. You may be more audible without it.
Okay.
So just know that that's there. What's happening?
So what's your name and where are you from?
So my name's Laura. I'm from the Pen to Paper Creative Writing Contest, which is a project of the Coalition of Texans with Disabilities. And this past week, we launched our 10th year of the contest, which is really something. Yay, thank you. So for this contest, we look for pieces of fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and comics that have to do with the topic of disability in some way. And now that it's official, we can finally tell you that we are collaborating with OLED Books this year, which is an independent publisher that focuses on publishing work by authors with disabilities. And they are, every year they do an anthology. Well, every year. They've done one, and they're going for year 2. And Susie and I set up a new contest division, kind of a long-form memoir, personal essay category that is going to accept entries, and we're going to read them, and the winners of that division will be published in OLED Books' next anthology. That is a huge deal for us. Yay! So I guess we're still working out how to talk about that and make it kind of make sense within the rest of our 10-year history. So if you have questions or if you want to know more about that, definitely let me or Susie know, and we will gladly talk to you all. Hey, who are you?
Right on. I'm Eric Lau, and I'm from VSA, Texas, the State Organization on Arts and Disability. We don't have big exciting news like that, but we have other things that I guess we're doing. Next week, next Saturday, 2 to 4, we have a concert at Carver Branch Library. We're starting a new public speaker training program, which starts on March 30th, and the application deadline is March 4th, so if you're interested in that, I guess come talk to me after. Should I go over the other things that we've got over there? So if you want to find out about this and other events that we're doing, sign up for our email list. If you want to support the open mic, you can make a donation in the bucket, a little green bucket, or you could buy a book to support Malvern Books, our generous host. And if you want to sign up, come see me. I got the clipboard.
We also want to thank AT&T, who has supported CTD in this event. So thank you, AT&T. Other businesses, other giant corporations should be supporting cool little events like this. So. Yeah. Please have some cake.
Oh yeah, cake.
Yeah.
And Topo Chico.
Yeah. It's a really good combination.
And regular water too. All right, cool. Our first performer for today is Bellon. Make your way up front.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Where's my podium?
Oh.
That's okay. No, I don't need one.
Okay.
Just, it hides the belly, and there aren't many things that can hide the belly.
Well, it's there for you.
Okay. So I saw a documentary since I've last seen you guys, and it was all about this category of writing called nonfiction. I've never heard of that before, right? And it seemed interesting, so I thought I'd give it a shot. You got a little story here about cat life on the farm. And it's true. May not be from the cat's perspective, but it's still true enough, mostly. Okay, oh, here we go. Hush, little kitty. Hush, little kitty, don't make a sound. Keep shadows and silhouettes close to the ground. Outsmart the fox, avoid coyotes, and when you think you're safe, put an eye to the trees. It's not a short driveway compared to most city driveways. It's long. Out here in the country, though, its length is fairly typical. Actually, by country standards, it's probably a short drive. It also has a little bend near the main road, also gravel, which takes the end of the driveway out of my sight past a row of hedges. On the far side of that bend is the north-south pasture. We call it that even though the pasture actually extends from the south. It runs northward alongside the eastern edge of the property, but whoever heard of a south-north pasture? Surely not the two horses that often stare at the front door of my house when they're hungry, neither of which is named Shirley, by the way. That would be my mother. Her name is Shirley. My wife's name is Elena, and I'm Skip. And we all live at the end of our gravel driveway, and we have cats. Although, and tragically, not as many as we used to, which is why I'm standing at the end of our driveway in the moonlight, waiting for my favorite kitty, Little Miss. You would think that with 4 dogs that we also have on the property, that we wouldn't worry much about the safety of our cats. But out here, foxes are crafty, and coyotes are bold, and owls are silent. Yes, owls. As if coyotes and foxes weren't enough to worry about, I had to see a photograph on Facebook of an owl flying off with a full-grown cat in its talons. The action was caught in the flash of light in one of those motion-activated still shots in the dark of the night. A millisecond of proof in an otherwise perfect crime. So now, I also say, owls are silent. The reason for my trepidation is Mama Kitty. Mama Kitty showed up on our front porch soaking wet in the driving rain. I thought she was a mouse at first. Honey, I think I hear something scratching at the door, said my wife Elena, always caring and attentive. It's the storm, I replied. 2 minutes later, Skip, something's at the door. So I got up from my computer and opened the door. Once I did, something tried to get in the house. It's a mouse, I stated. Then I bravely opened the door and looked again. It was a simple task meant to ensure the completeness of my mission. I then reacted appropriately to what I saw, and a few seconds later I was back inside the house with a mouse in my hand, both of us soaking wet. Elena mentioned, that mouse looks suspiciously like a cat. We got a towel and dried the cat off somewhat until she wriggled free, ran to Buddy's food dish, gulped down 3 oversized mouthfuls of Friskies, and returned to the front door, this time scratching to go outside. Buddy Kins is the name of our indoor kitty, who was asleep in the bedroom at the time, and I didn't think Buddy would mind if I let the wet cat back outside, so I did. That was quick, I reported accurately to Elena. Elena asked, did she leave a quarter? I returned to my computer for only moments when there was another ruckus at the door. I returned to find Mama Kitty at the door with something in her mouth. We let her back in the house with it. Elena said, that's not a mouse either. And she was right. The mostly white Mama Kitty, with some gray and tiny little blonde tiger stripes on her face and legs, had brought us her entirely black kitten. We dried off the kitten and urged Mama to go outside in case there might be more kittens. But she had no such interest. Mama Kitty was very small and young, and this was likely her first litter, which can sometimes be just a single kitten. For about 15 minutes, Mama Kitty gulped down some food, rubbed up against our legs, and cleaned her kitten. After she slowed down a bit, the kitten caught up to her and started feeding, while Mama kept cleaning. However, to make a sad story short, the kitten only survived for a few weeks. But the happy part of the story is that Mama Kitty stayed with us, and about 8 months later had another litter. It was the litter of 3 kittens. They all had swirls on their sides. 2 were dark gray with light gray swirls. The other was a black with gray swirls. all beautiful. The black and gray kitten was called Billy, and the two grays were named Mr. Handsome and Miss Pretty. A relative gave us another kitten a couple weeks later, which is about the same age as the others, and Mama welcomed him right into the family. Elena named him Baby. Baby instantly became Elena's favorite. And a fun time was had by all 4 kittens and Mama. That is, until the end of the record-setting heat wave last summer. 51 days of triple-digit heat and very little rain. Out here in the country, the wildlife was getting desperate. Actually, I heard stories about desperate coyotes in the city of Austin, too. One day, near the end of the heat wave, I was walking up the gravel driveway and Mama Kitty was following me while she stalked grasshoppers and stayed close to the hedge line for protection. But that was the last time we ever saw Mama Kitty. I went out later that night and walked the hedge line with the dogs, but there was no reaction from them. Sometimes, however, Mama Kitty was known to disappear for a day or so, but that was many days or so ago. After 5 days had passed, Elena asked me if I'd seen Baby that day. And the very next day, around supper time, I went on a little walk looking for Billy, who I had not seen all that day. Baby and Billy were never seen again. We rounded up Mr. and Missy and kept them inside for a week. A while after the disappearances, I was driving home with 2 of my dogs inside my van, and I saw a fox by the property line near the end of the driveway by the north-south pasture. I let the dogs out of the van and they gave the fox a little chase, but domesticated dogs are no match for a fox. It was gone in a moment, and hopefully it is still gone. More likely, though, we are part of its miles-wide territory. So it was the fox, so was it the fox that was responsible for the disappearance of Mama, Baby, and Billy? I would say that there is a strong possibility, but you cannot dismiss the possibility of the ever-present coyotes. And thanks to Facebook, I reckon I must now include owls too. It's been 5 months now since the fox, and there is a new ritual in my life. I call it the come home prayer. And I performed it just last week as I stood at the end of my driveway waiting for Missy. She had followed the dogs and I down to the end of the driveway. Something out there spooked our horses and got the dogs riled up. We checked the area out and displayed our postures and such. Not to be foiled, we spread our scent around the area as we all participated in one of Mother Nature's rituals. But then we returned back down the gravel driveway, and once near the house, I looked back for Missy. Last seen in the infamous hedge line, she had yet to be accounted for. I waited as long as is practical. The dogs and I made a second pass along the hedge line. I called out, "Here, kitty, kitty," many times. Then I turned and walked up the ramp that guides my mother's wheelchair to the house, and I watched the hand railings that Missy likes to climb on and play. But there were no telltale kitty shadows in the moonlit dark. As I got to the end of the ramp and turned to walk into the house, the shadow of a bird flying in front of the 3/4 moon passed by the door. Stupid Facebook. Finally, back inside the house, I say hello to Mr. Handsome and turn to look out the door behind me. Then I say the prayer once again, and though it has been shortened over the months by way of repetition, I say, "Hush, little kitty," and I close the door. I could end it there. There is an epilogue. Later that night, I woke suddenly. My dog Coffee had moved off my bed and was interested in the front door. By the time I got there, Mr. Handsome was there too. So I opened the door and let Miss Pretty inside. She gulped down some food, rubbed up against my leg, and laid down and cleaned herself.